Following years of drama and ups and downs, Sister Wives viewers got the biggest surprise yet from Cody Brown. Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are well by God's grace. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Cody Brown is again in the spotlight, dropping hints of yet another great shift in his life. Or at least, that's how he put it. He began as usual, like typical Cody, but midway through a jaw-dropping, open-ended interview, he totally changed tracks. Although he's monogamous now, Cody confessed to wife Robin Brown that he's at least willing to consider polygamy again, though naturally under certain very specific conditions. The discussion was during dinner, ignited when a relative of Robin's inquired about whether they were still interested in plural marriage. Cody was initially enthusiastic, but before anyone could even catch their breath, he reversed the script, considering that perhaps what he had really been looking for all along was simply Robin. He let the thought hang suspended in the air, intimate and tentative. Neither Cody nor Robin ruled out polygamy entirely. It wasn't entirely off the table, but for Cody it wasn't merely about finding someone new to add to the family. He was referring to working through complicated feelings, sexual intimacy, and the dynamics of introducing a new individual into an already sensitive arrangement. So is this a deal breaker for Robin, or simply Cody letting his ego show a bit? Let's take a ride on the Sister Wives roller coaster and discover. Cody has been spiritually wedded to Robin since 2010, as well as to his other wives, Christine, Janelle, and Mary. He admitted that the distancing from his other wives felt like a walk of shame, most likely because it was so much out of his hands. When Robin came to the table, she did not know what to say. She didn't want to presume to speak for him. Cody reminded her that prior to their relationship, she had turned down marriage proposals from other worthy men. Was it because she wasn't interested in polygamy? Seeking some middle ground, Cody asked Robin if anything could be gained from exploring polygamy again, and what it could mean for the future. Robin expressed her desire to find a person who would really support Cody as well as her. Cody was receptive to the idea, but he had reservations. "You and I have something very special," he told her. "But if it can't be duplicated, it might be dangerous for us." Then the moment of truth arrived. Cody confessed his main reason for wanting an open marriage was, well, let's just say it was based on desire. Robin laughed, but he was very serious. His position was my way or the highway. Physical intimacy, he cautioned, could jeopardize their marriage unless any possible new lover loved Robin so utterly that rivalry for his heart would never even come into play. A warning story mirroring the issues of his former wives. But after all the going back and forth, Cody came to an emotional decision. He was finished with polygamy. "The concept just kills me," he said. "It's you and me, baby, monogamy. Can you live with that?" Robin was completely on board. The Browns sealed it with a kiss, and for the time being the emotional whiplash ends there. Examining this relationship-defining conversation, it's evident that the Browns are devoted to enduring the rough days and enjoying the good ones together. The attraction to polygamy most likely stemmed from familiarity. It had become their lifestyle until Mary departed. However, the fact of the matter is, love can never be guaranteed, and the gamble for their relationship was not worth taking. They emerged as victors. However, Cody's personality cannot be denied. He's a stubborn man, with a strong sense of right and wrong, and personal beliefs that are admirable, even though sometimes he is self-absorbed. He teased about the drama with his ex-wives, and even referred to them as Robin's sisters in a bit of teasing barb. So the question continues, is Cody mature enough to commit wholeheartedly without hurting anyone, or is Robin the anchor he's always required? Cody also considered the similarity between his experiences on Sister Wives and Special Forces, World's Toughest Test. On Special Forces, he found the obstacle course challenging, but life-affirming, enjoying the camaraderie and teamwork. Unfortunately, Sister Wives has actually become a lot about criticism and backbiting, he confessed. He came to realize that overcoming torturous physical and mental tasks was less difficult than trying to understand his marriages. He attributes a crucial piece of advice to war veteran Rudy Reyes. "What are you doing that you should not be doing? And what should you be doing that you are not doing?" Cody admitted he might have made use of this knowledge years earlier. Maybe the outcome of things with his marriages could have been different. Christine and Cody divorced in 2021, followed closely by Mary. Now only Robin is left. Cody is weighing with great caution whether to introduce another wife into the fold, banking on lessons in special forces to help him grow. In reality TV land, few figures evoke as much intrigue or outrage as Cody Brown and his unorthodox family. As it premiered in 2010, TLC's Sister Wives has captivated millions of fans with the complicated life of the Brown family, full of changing dynamics, conflict and emotional turns. Throughout it all, there has been Cody, the patriarch of the family, whose desire to live a plural marriage was the catalyst for the show. But a decade and a half later, that dream is quite different. After being once celebrated for exhibiting a united polygamous household living life as one, the Browns have fractured. Christine departed from Cody in 2021, Janelle left next, and then Mary, leaving Robin as his last wife standing. What was initially a home comprised of 4 females and a male has now constricted to a traditional union, something that Cody had previously declared he never desired. But even with these broken relationships and decades of heartache, Cody just made headlines for teasing that he may not be completely finished with plural marriage. The shocker? He indicated that he might consider adding a new wife to the family, but with one very particular caveat. For longtime Cody followers, the questions abound: what might that caveat be? Why now, after 3 marriages have fallen through, would Cody consider it? And how does Robin, the frequently dubbed favorite wife, take it? To see why this situation is such a turning point, it's helpful to go back and read about Cody's path. At the time the Browns were first introduced, Cody was confident and charming, practicing plural marriage boldly. He talked frequently about the religious significance of living with so many children, calling it a divine call that filled him with joy and completion. Each of his wives, Mary, Janelle, Christine and Robin, played a starring role in that vision. But over the course of years, fissures began to develop. Disagreements on money, parenting, living arrangements, and Cody's perception of favoritism toward Robin whittled away at trust. Christine's move was a watershed, triggering a domino effect that left Cody disillusioned, upset, and even bitter. On the season 18 tell-all shows, he acknowledged he'd lost trust in the same morals that had directed his life. And yet, now, Cody to loop around and be receptive to a fresh wife is shocking. It indicates that, in spite of all that has transpired, he still holds on to the concept of plural living, but this time on his own terms. The fact that he would put a stipulation before even accepting a new wife says volumes. In his early days as Sister Wives, Cody portrayed himself as free, unafraid, and spiritually led. His choices were described as being part of a greater good, not if-then conditions. Today, having experienced heartbreak, public criticism, and alienation from some of his children, Cody is no longer building a family with hope. He's guarding himself against emotional breakdown. This change, where one condition becomes paramount, is about control, boundaries, and even survival. Fans have clung to this discovery with fervor. Social media threads are awash with conjecture. Some posit that it may be sheer fidelity to Cody, an expression of the betrayals he's faced. Others believe it may be a matter of accepting Robin as the dominant figure in the household, preventing the new wife from usurping her. And others ponder if it is more functional, such as financial security, common religion, or willingness to be seen on TV. Regardless, it sparked discussions about Cody's future and Sister Wives' direction. That's important for the show as well. Sister Wives has made its brand plural marriage. With Cody having only one wife now, viewers are openly speculating if the show can go on. The potential for a new wife presents new storylines at a time when the show is running low on content, and a fresh addition might disrupt family dynamics anew. Would Robin welcome her? How would Cody's grown kids respond? Would the ex-wives chime in on TV? The questions themselves offer grist for episodes, interviews, and tell-all show drama, the stuff of which reality TV is made. To fully grasp Cody's mindset and this so-called one condition, it helps to revisit the timeline of his marriages. Each wife brought something unique into Cody's life, but also exposed the cracks that eventually caused his polygamous world to crumble. It all began with Mary. Cody legally wedded Mary in 1990, when he was youthful, naive, and firmly implanted in a religion that stressed celestial plural marriage as a spiritual vocation. Mary was comfortable with the lifestyle, and for some time they dreamed of an enlarging, peaceful family. But trouble quickly arose. Being the initial wife, Mary contributed to setting up the family's polygamous foundation, but infertility issues restricted them to just one child, Leon, much to her dismay, as Cody went ahead with other marriages. Gradually, their relationship weakened, and Cody confessed he no longer had romantic love for her. The biggest blow came after Mary was implicated in a 2015 catfishing scandal, which Cody said was betrayal. Even though they were legally married for years, intimacy and trust had been erased, and Mary confirmed their breakup in early 2023. It was in 1993 that Cody got married spiritually to Janelle, a highly different dynamic. Janelle was down to earth, professional and money conscious, unlike Mary's more emotional stance. At first the equilibrium suited Cody just fine, as she was impressed with Janelle's independence and prowess. They had 6 children together, bringing Janelle into the middle of the family's daily life. In contrast to Mary, Janelle appeared more at ease with the functional aspect of polygamy. She tended to refer to herself as not very jealous or emotional about Cody being shared. But fissures did develop in their marriage as well. Although Janelle still stood in awe of Cody, she routinely found herself frustrated with his controlling nature and his increasing favoritism towards Robin. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, tensions between Cody and Janelle were already heightened. Frequent disagreements on rules, duties, and family values developed, pushing them towards separations. By the end of 2022, Janelle went public that she and Cody had broken up. The most publicly sensational of Cody's marriages was probably his 1994 spiritual marriage to Christine Brown. Christine was the stereotypical nurturing traditional polygamous wife. She was proud to be a homemaker and mother, co-parenting 6 children with Cody, while she provided for the general household requirements. However, as the years went by, Christine grew disillusioned. She frequently felt ignored, underappreciated, and overshadowed by Robin. One of her most regrettable experiences was when she confessed she did not want to remain in a marriage with no intimacy anymore. Cody simply told her in season 16 of Sister Wives that he no longer wanted an intimate relationship, which was the breaking point. Christine stunned fans in 2021 by announcing on Instagram that she had broken up with Cody. She left Utah with her children, abandoning the polygamous way of life altogether. Christine has been happy since with her new husband, David Woolley, whom she wed in 2023. Her exit was the domino that ultimately knocked Janelle and Mary out of there, showing just how disintegrated the family had become. Lastly, in 2010, audiences were introduced to Robin Sullivan Brown, Cody's 4th wife. As opposed to the others, Cody did marry Robin legally in 2014 after divorcing Mary. The legal marriage enabled Cody to adopt Robin's 3 children from a former relationship, making them a family unit. Reality TV has a peculiar ability to bring audiences into the intimately personal lives of its celebrities, erasing boundaries between private drama and public persona. Of the cast on Sister Wives, none embrace this more than Mary Brown, Cody's first wife, and one of the show's most familiar faces. Through more than a decade on the air, Mary has introduced viewers to her successes, failures, and personal makeovers. From her youth as the dutiful first wife in a polygamous household, to her more recent pages of singledom, Mary has never been afraid to wear her feelings on her sleeve. And so when news surfaced that Mary had lost a loved one, fans were quick to take notice. Famous for her emotional social media statements, Mary decided to pay tribute to her friend Mark publicly, writing a message that touched followers who know the sting of losing someone they love. Her letter was short but potent. Grief, when expressed honestly, binds the grieving to the supporters. This memorial was not so much a goodbye, as it was another installment in Mary's saga of courage, introspection, and self-discovery. Following years of emotional separation from Cody, weathering the turmoil from the catfishing debacle, and affirming her estrangement from the polygamous clan, Mary relied heavily upon her support group. Mark Stidham was among those anchors, offering friendship and support outside of the difficult realm of Sister Wives. By airing her loss publicly, Mary processed her own heartache as well as encouraging fans to consider their own experience of mourning. This openness has made her a sympathetic character for a long time, even amid plotlines that generated controversy on the show. Who then was Mark Stidham, and why is his death significant to viewers? Although he was not a series regular, Mark played an integral role in Mary's support system as she navigated some of her worst times. For a woman who frequently felt alone inside her plural marriage, friends outside of the Brown family were crucial to her mental health. In the greater context of Mary's life, she's been in a period of change. Having broken away from Cody, she's sought autonomy, invested in her bed and breakfast venture, built up friendships, and taken to personal development. The death of Mark Stidham reminds that even while establishing a new life, loss is still human. By publicly honoring him, Mary not only grieves her loss, but is also celebrating the relationships that uphold her beyond sister wives. Viewers of the show, long familiar with the Brown family drama, reacted in sympathy and solidarity. Some commended Mary for talking candidly about mourning, and others drew a connection between Mark's death and other elements of her narrative. Loss of closeness, belief in polygamous marriage and self-definition within the family. In many ways, Mary's tribute offered fans a fresh perspective, seeing her not just as Cody's estranged wife, or a reality star, but as a woman coping with the universal experience of saying goodbye to someone who mattered deeply. This article will now explore the significance of Mary's tribute to Mark Stidham, beginning with a closer look at who he was and the role he played in her life. In this section, we'll take a closer look at Mary Brown's life, why Mark Stidham's passing was so significant to her, and what their friendship truly meant. From there, we'll explore what her tribute revealed, how fans responded, and what it says about Mary's personal growth, the role of friendship in her healing, and how her openness about grief connects to broader themes of resilience. The purpose isn't simply to analyze a single tribute, it's a window into understanding who Mary Brown is today. A woman who has experienced heartbreak but still finds resiliency in the unlikeliest of places. When Mary broke the devastating news of Mark Stidham's death, numerous fans of Sister Wives wondered the same thing. Who was Mark, and why was he so close to her? Although he was not a celebrity such as the Browns, Mark had a behind-the-scenes, but significant part to play in Mary's work and life. Knowing his story makes sense of why her tribute resonated so powerfully on an emotional level with her and the audience that has watched her work for more than a decade. Mark's background. Mark Stidham was familiar in entrepreneurial circles as the co-founder and former CEO of Lulo, a multi-level marketing apparel firm that gained popularity during the mid-2010s. With his wife Diane, Lulo achieved notoriety for its bright-colored leggings, and for promising women financial independence through flexible work-from-home income opportunities. Although the company ultimately ran into controversy and legal action, Mark himself was frequently characterized as ambitious, charismatic, and extremely devoted to his family. It was within these entrepreneurial and religious networks that Mary and Mark originally met. How Mary and Mark became connected. Aside from being a reality television personality, Mary has consistently tried to find opportunities outside the Brown family in order to establish herself. Throughout the years, she participated in various business enterprises, such as her bed and breakfast in Utah, and selling products as an independent retailer for Lulo. It was under this business relationship that Mary's friendship with Mark grew. As a senior leader in Lulo, Mark was not only a mentor but also an inspiration to many women. To Mary, who was trying to find herself amidst a failing marriage, Lulo provided a business base. It provided a support system. Mark and other leaders of the company encouraged Mary to become independent, develop businesswoman confidence, and become empowered beyond being Cody's wife. Through time, this professional working relationship developed into close friendship. Business encounters turned into deep camaraderie, with Mark taking a key role in Mary's personal healing and development. Mark's role in Mary's life. Mary's friendship with Mark was a step beyond professional courtesy. It became a foundation of her emotional health. With decades of feeling insignificant in her marriage, she started relying on friendships for support and validation. Mark was the kind of person who made her feel that she was worth more than the strict boundaries of her polygamous family. Through her life with Lulo, Mary went to conventions, traveled for events, and networked with people similar to her, regularly with Mark's guidance and urging. In doing so, Mark was part of the scaffolding that held Mary together through some of her most fragile years. The human face of Mark. It's simple to look at a man like Mark only in terms of his commercial empire. But the people who knew him as a person spoke of him as warm, affable, and witty. He was a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a friend. Aside from the scandal surrounding Lulo, Mark was noted to be concerned with people's individual development and happiness. Mary's tribute stuck out on this aspect of his life, drawing a portrait of a man whose gentle nature and support influenced her life forever. For Mary, who had years of public scrutiny under her belt in the form of criticism, skepticism, and even ridicule, the relationship with Mark was not cemented on television or through familial melodrama. It developed quietly, off camera, fostered by a respect for one another, commonality of values, and a professional relationship that morphed into concrete personal trust. How the friendship came to be. Mary came into contact with Mark via Lulo. When she joined the company, it wasn't necessarily about selling leggings or making extra money. It was a lifeline. She was struggling with loneliness in her plural marriage, trying to find an identity separate from Cody, and seeking opportunities that would provide her with purpose. Mark, being one of the central leaders at Lulo, came into contact with numerous consultants, including Mary. Through time, their professional relationship grew into friendship. Mary was energized by Mark's motivational speeches at corporate functions and his friendly, helpful attitude. He wasn't a CEO. He was a person who truly cared about the individuals around him. For Mary, who had long felt ignored within her marriage, this validation meant the world to her. As her immersion in Lulo increased, their talks moved from business issues to intimate discussions on life, adversity, and resilience. Mark saw Mary not as Cody Brown's wife or a reality television star, but as Mary, a gifted, driven, and vulnerable person. That identification made all the difference in her life. Shared values. Another important ingredient in their connection was their common values. Both had faith-based backgrounds that focused on family, community, and spirituality. Although they didn't have identical journeys, they both had similarities in believing in hard work, loyalty, and self-improvement. Mark, who had established a business empire with his wife, knew the strength of partnership and determination. Mary, who had survived decades of emotional abandonment, identified with the concept that life's hurdles could be stepping stones and not stumbling blocks. These shared values provided common ground and established the basis for an enduring friendship. The basis of Mary and Mark's friendship was about something greater than small talk or business. It was about shared life, shared philosophy, and emotional support in hard times. Arguably the most crucial element of their relationship was the comfort Mark offered during troubled times in Mary's life. Sister Wives fans recognize Mary's path has been one of heartbreak, the dissolution of her union, the scandal that damaged her reputation, and the alienation she frequently experienced in the plural home. Through it all, Mark was a constant in her life, reminding Mary of her value, and that her life wasn't about Cody's rejection. He supported her entrepreneurial pursuits, confirmed her independence, and cheered her on as she entered new stages of her life. Losing a friend like that is awful, not only the loss of company, but the lack of someone there in your darkest moments, someone who believed in you when others didn't. Yet another depth to their friendship was added by the shared experiences and journeys they had through Lulo's conventions and retreats. These conventions were not only business. There was abundant motivational speech, team-building activities, and felicitation of personal development. For Mary, these vacations provided a respite from the claustrophobic environment of Flagstaff and the endless family conflicts regarding property, allegiance, and dominance. Travel was what enabled her to break out of being a polygamous wife and be a businesswoman and friend. Being with Mark made these moments even sweeter. Shared laughter, private jokes, and open encouragement transformed business journeys into treasured memories. When Mary paid respects to Mark after he died, she was reminiscing on exactly these moments. Moments when friendship had granted her liberty, belonging, and happiness. A friendship based on sincerity,
Mary and Mark's relationship was founded on honesty. In her polygamous marriage, Mary repeatedly needed to put on a tough face, suppressing her real feelings to avoid conflict. With Mark, she didn't need to pretend. He loved her for who she was, her strengths, weaknesses, and fears. That level of authenticity is uncommon, particularly for someone whose life has been on national television. With Mark, she wasn't a reality TV star. She was just a friend. The space that his death leaves is immense. For Mary to lose him was to lose not only a confidant, but a part of her journey towards self-discovery. Their friendship taught that healing and empowerment need not be found in romantic love, but in die-hard friends who believe in you. It is for this reason that her eulogy struck such a chord with fans. It wasn't about gossip about celebrities. It was about a common truth. Friendships mold, heal, and support us. The tribute with their friendship established in context. We can turn now to Mary's public tribute. Following the death of Mark, Mary did not remain quiet when the news came through. She took her stage to pay tribute to a man who had been a mentor, colleague, but also a real friend. This was not an acknowledgement of losing a public figure. It was personal. Stepping onto Instagram, Mary posted a touching message, a site she frequently uses to post business insights or sneak peeks into her life. This one was the atmosphere sober, yet thankful. She posted a picture of Mark smiling, full of life, with a caption that expressed her sorrow and the honor of knowing. She called Mark a visionary man, compassionate, and someone who had unshakable faith in people. Perhaps the most powerful part of her eulogy was how she approached her sorrow through thankfulness. Rather than focusing on the hurtful aspects of losing Mark, she spoke about how grateful she was for having him in her life. She reminisced on what she learned from him, about being a good leader, about persistence, and about loving herself more than other people would define her. She thanked Mark for making her feel supported during times of self-doubt, and keeping her in mind that she could succeed outside the complex polygamous lifestyle. Audiences could sense the genuineness in her speech. This was no reality TV fabricated moment. It was raw and intimate. Mary also paid tribute to Mark's legacy. She testified to his work in developing Lulo, and above all his commitment to empowering others. She spoke of the numerous lives he had impacted, consultants, friends, and family, urging them to keep living fearlessly, as he had urged them to do. Her tribute was not so much about reminiscing about Mark. It was an appeal to keep his values alive: resilience, courage, and vision. The emotional undertones. The entry was full of emotion. For a woman who had felt long invisible in her marriage, it showed how much she treasured the encouragement and affirming that Mark had offered her. Lines such as "You always believed in me," and "Thank you for reminding me to keep going," were not just ordinary politeness. How much more they were the words of thanks, from someone who had found strength from a true friend at times of weakness. Her tribute was not merely mourning. It was recognition of how Mark had contributed to the making of the independent, strong, and unabashedly self-driven woman she had become. Fans' reactions. The post promptly made waves among Sister Wives fans. Most filled the comments section with sympathy messages, but along with that, admiration for Mary. Fans who had seen her journey from the very first seasons of the show knew how precious this friendship had to be, knowing the years she spent feeling ignored or pushed aside by Cody and the other wives.